You are all profiting off of families and people who have been hurt. You all are doing it. So cut the drama and get back to the damn true crime that you should be doing. Hello, everyone. My name is Marissa. If you're new here, your favorite problematic housewife. Today, we're going to be doing a good old rant on the state of the true crime community. We need a good old not another housewife rant. We really do. So, we're going to talk about the true crime community. I have a ton of thoughts. The true crime community is in a dark, twisted place right now. People are turning on each other. People are being exposed, dumpster fires everywhere, everyone's calling each other out, and all of this drama and chaos is taking away from what's most important in that community, and that is the victims and their families. So let's just get right into it. So, as most of you know, true crime is a very popular genre on YouTube. People have loved true crime forever. Okay, there's tons of channels, there's big channels, little channels, but what some of you may or may not know is that these little communities kind of form within the true crime genre. Okay? There will be all of these little sub communities of live streamers that kind of come together to talk about big cases they find interesting, go over all of the details, have people on panel, have discussions. And some of the creators I'm going to be talking about today are Zavgirl, The Glarer, Heels in the Air, Annie from 10 to Life. She's one of the bigger creators, but she's definitely connected to a lot of these true crime communities, the smaller ones. And there's another channel, Down the Rabbit Hole, who kind of does commentary and sometimes true crime. There's a lot of different people. And then there's all the subscribers that, you know, come in and follow. There's also another channel I recently found called Deets on the Streets. Now, if you guys are familiar with my channel and have been subscribed for a long time, I have talked about some of the creators in what is called the Krama community. There is Molly Golightly, there's Bullhorn Betty, there's a lot of channels like that that have been called out in the past. I've talked about the Galera before. There's just a lot going on in those communities. And the problem is, these communities end up having a lot of drama. And that's an issue because true crime is supposed to be about, you know, as everybody says in those communities, it's all about bringing awareness to cases and the victims and their families. But it doesn't ever end up being that. It always ends up into a drama fest in these damn communities. Another issue that happens is the spread of gossip and misinformation when it comes to true crime. True crime, I think, has been a lot more scrutinized in the last few years than it ever has before because people started realizing and kind of side-eyeing some true crime creators for the way that they cover their cases. We had all of these different subgenres of true crime, like people were doing true crime in makeup, true crime in mukbangs. And people started feeling like the way some of these creators were covering very sensitive topics and cases and victims was insensitive and disrespectful to the victims and their families. And I agree. I do think there's a lot of channels out there that don't get it right, and they're either disrespectful or they spread misinformation and gossip. Now, more recently, there has been a situation with a true crime creator called Zavgirl, who I feel like kind of caused this new true crime apocalypse, if you will. That's what I'm going to call it. Because of what Zavgirl did, it is causing a whole bunch of other creators to be exposed and called out. People are fighting, they're live streaming about each other, they're exposing each other's pasts and calling out each other's bad behavior, and things have gotten so messy. And it's very frustrating because I feel like all of this drama and shit show that's going on is taking away from what true crime is supposed to be. So, Zavgirl, as you guys probably know because it literally hit mainstream news, Zavgirl is another true crime creator who does live streams and covers big cases. She's covered Kylie Rodney, Idaho 4, and she also covered the Gannon Stouch case and the trial of Letitia Stouch. And during this trial, she requested the court documents and everything that went with the case. And in these documents, she received the autopsy photos of Gannon Stouch. So when Zavgirl received all these documents and files, she decided to put Gannon, who was an 11-year-old boy who was brutally murdered by his stepmother, Letitia. So she decided to take his autopsy photos and put them behind her Patreon, a paywall. And she put them as a $3 tier. She did like a video, from what I understand. She put the coroner's voice kind of explaining the death and autopsy, and she showed the photos in her Patreon for this video. Now, before she even did this, she was advertising all over her channel that she was going to do this. And a lot of her own subscribers were telling her, don't do it. It's too far. We don't think you should do it. And Zavgirl decided to do it anyway. Well, this caused so much outrage, rightfully so much anger. Somebody actually contacted the parents of Gannon and let them know what Zavgirl did. The prosecutor of the case was contacted and sent this content, and it hit mainstream media. Channels everywhere were calling her out, and it turned into a whole ass mess, okay? She ended up doing an apology, which people did not like her apology, which I agree. I don't think her apology was the best. It seemed very cold and scripted, and I feel like it didn't really come from a place of remorse and sorrow for what you did to the family. It kind of was very, but I also think that's her personality. Now, since then, a bunch of other creators who are within her community, like the Glarer and others, have been calling her out. I mean, the Glarer did like 15 freaking live streams, okay? And the problem is, so many true crime creators have done this kind of behavior. A lot of these true crime creators have Patreons. A lot of them put graphic photos and images and stuff about the victims behind a paywall, which I think is just disgusting. I'm sorry, I don't agree with it. I think that it's gross. And Annie from 10 to Live recently got called out for doing something similar. Now, she didn't do the exact same thing. She did something similar. She took public photos of another case child, Adrian Jones. If you're not aware of that case, it was very gruesome, horrible, ABUSE against a child. Now, the parents of this child actually recorded footage and photos of what they were doing to their child. It's just horrifying. So that was put out for the public to see, okay? And Annie took those public photos, put them behind a paywall, her Patreon, put it at the $1 tier, and advertised it as early release, uncensored, and she kind of led people to believe that she had some kind of exclusive, more graphic photos than what was already put out, and it was uncensored. I think what Annie did is absolutely disgusting. I think I really don't understand what the point of that was. The photos were already leaked on a website, and she could have easily linked the website in her video if people wanted to go see the photos. So when this came out, of course people were upset, but not all people, okay? Some of the same people who are condemning and crucifying Zavgirl for what she did, which was bad, it was wrong, are defending Annie. The Glarer, a channel Down the Rabbit Hole, did a live stream, which I did not agree with her live stream whatsoever. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous and full of gaslighting, and we're going to get to that. So we're going to get more into Annie. I'm actually planning on doing an entire deep dive on Annie and my opinion on her content over the years. So I'm going to do a whole full breakdown of Annie, and in that video, I will show the receipts of what she did with these graphic photos. Today, I'm just chatting, I'm just ranting. You can just listen. I'm not going to be showing anything, but I will be doing a full breakdown of Annie and her content over the years and some of my issues with her, because I'm actually like, I don't dislike Annie. I watch her content and I always try to give her the benefit of the doubt, even after everything that happened with Sophie Long. And I did call that out. I thought her apology sucked on that too. I still continued to watch her. And then stuff happened in the Kylie Rodney case. I'm like, why does she do this? Then she's doing the same kind of thing in the Idaho 4 case. Then I found out she did this stuff with the Adrian Jones case. And it just seems like she never learns. And for some reason, Annie always seems to get a free pass with everybody. I don't know if it's because she's such a big creator that all of these other smaller true crime channels like don't call her out and rather just kiss her ass pretty much. That's what it's seeming like. I know the Glare is friends with her. So yeah. I think Annie is doing just as much problematic things as these other channels that they're calling out. And that's one of the issues that is happening right now. Zavgirl is being completely dragged through the mud. And what she did was wrong. What she did was absolutely disgusting and wrong and way too far. And then she continued to do things after the apology, like pinning a comment that was saying she did nothing wrong and people are spreading false narratives, continuing to defend herself on her community tab. And it just seems to me like she's not sorry. A leaked phone call came out of her kind of ranting about everybody who's coming for her, and she had no remorse on that phone call either. Any relevant live streams that I talk about, I will leave down below if you guys want to go check them out. I always suggest that you do your own research, look at everything here for yourself, and come up with your own opinion. And of course, don't send anybody any hate. We're just talking, we're just giving our opinion and talking about the things going on. So the issue is everybody came for Zavgirl. Everybody's condemning her, turning on her, throwing her under the bus in her own community, when all of these people do and have done very similar things to her. Okay, the Glarer, he harassed and Kelly Long from the Sophie Long case. Okay, the Glarer is his own walking true crime case. So the fact that people have him as a mod and friend and all this stuff after he literally admitted to beating up his own son, he's been accused of SA by multiple women, he's been accused of DV by his ex-wife, and all of that combined with the fact that he did horrible things during the Sophie Long case, along with Annie and the Dad Challenge podcast. It's very frustrating and annoying to see the Glarer try and act like he's the savior of the true crime community, because he's one of the grossest ones out there. So to watch the Glarer and everybody else hype him up for calling out what they call the tragedy pimps, the Glarer has made it his main content to come after other true crime channels. And he kind of decided that he's the leader of true crime and what you should be doing. And he decided that he's going to come after all these other channels. In my opinion, I believe that he sucks at true crime. He doesn't want to do the research. He doesn't want to actually do the work, because when he does true crime, he sucks at it. So he realized that there was a market for somebody to come after these true crime channels and call them tragedy pimps and make tons of money off of calling them out. Sorry if you guys hear my kids in the background. Sometimes my house is very loud. It's nearly impossible to find a quiet spot to record. I literally will be running around my house into different rooms trying to like record by myself, and then I have to stop every 5 seconds to like tend to the kids. So it will literally take me like 5 hours to get one video recorded. Anyway, so, I'm not against channels making money. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to make money on YouTube. Everybody would love to have a successful channel and make money. Okay, it's not just the fact about making money, right? But people like the Glarer, who have literally hurt children and women himself and is a walking true crime case, I find it very ironic that he wants to be the one that's going to save the true crime community and people are like cheering him on. So when it comes to the quote unquote tragedy pimps, okay, a whole sort of anti community has been created to kind of come for the tragedy pimps, the people who are harassing families, spreading misinformation, spreading lies and gossip, going too far, disrespecting the families. Like a whole anti community was created to go after other creators and how they cover true crime. You guys know how I feel about anti communities. I am anti, okay? Because I feel like every time an anti community is formed, it's full of a bunch of people who do just as grimy stuff, who are nasty as hell. They go too far, they harass people, they bully people, all in the name of, coming for the anti whatever they are, okay? And the Glarer literally ignores every single thing that Annie from 10 to Life does. All of these people, I haven't seen any of these people calling out Annie for what she does. And she does all of the things that they say they're against. They say they're correction. There is a channel called Captain Napton that has called out Annie from 10 to Life and the Glare and the Dad Challenge podcast. And she's one of the only channels. There's like literally like two channels that actually have coverage of what they were doing during the Sophie Long case. So I will link her channel down below. She has called out Annie and the Glare a lot, and I appreciate that because I feel like so many people give Annie a free pass for all the stuff she does. Against spreading lies. Annie has spread lies. They say they're against of gossiping. Annie has gossiped, speculated too much. She came for Sophie Long's mother in the Kelly Long case. She was coming for a bunch of teenagers in the Kylie Rodden case. Okay, teenagers were literally being blamed and bullied because of some of these channels. She always claims she has inside sources, inside information. She'll put up stuff that's not correct and she'll either ignore it or delete it and act like it never happened. Annie does very problematic stuff. And for her to upload graphic photos of a child to her Patreon and then advertise it as early release and uncensored is disgusting. And for channels like Down the Rabbit Hole, The Glare, and all these people to defend her actions while condemning Zavgirl is extremely hypocritical and very biased, in my opinion. And I think Annie should be called out, just like they're calling out these other channels who are doing the same stuff, okay? A lot of true crime channels have Patreons and they upload stuff that is graphic, okay, and way too fun. Why do they need to have these Patreons, okay? Why do they need these Patreons? Well, they say it's because YouTube doesn't allow certain things on their channel, but that is not an excuse of why they're charging people. You can have a Discord, you can have a free group on Facebook. There are plenty of free platforms that you can use to share the stuff that YouTube doesn't allow. That is not an excuse to be making all this extra money on the victims of crimes, okay? So if you're gonna say there's tragedy pimps and exploiting victims and all this stuff, you guys are all exploiting victims. You are all profiting off of the hurt that families go through. Now, some have better tact about it, some do better, right? Now, that's one of the things that I agreed with in Down the Rabbit Hole's live stream. She did a live stream defending Annie, and she said everyone's profiting off of victims, everyone's exploiting victims, everyone has a Patreon and is doing all this stuff. Yes. Then why are you condemning Zavgirl but not Annie? That's the problem. You can't say when it comes to Annie, everybody's doing it. We have to call out everybody if we're going to call out Annie. Well, yeah, that's the fucking point. You're calling out Zavgirl, but you're not calling out Annie. It's very biased, and I don't think Annie should get away with all the shit that she does. The Glairer is so against spreading misinformation. He talks about it every fucking day. Every day. He's like, these channels spread gossip and misinformation. So the fuck does Annie. So does the Dad Challenge podcast, for that matter. The Glairer is also a supporter of the Dad Challenge podcast, who sucks at. The Dad Challenge podcast was also a part of the Sophie Long case. Him, the Glairer, and Annie drug Kelly Long through the mud. They said she was a drug addict. She was arrested. She was letting her daughter be essayed. They helped Michael. They helped Michael Long push his GoFundMe that he later used to kidnap his daughter. And then when everything started blowing up, the Glairer and Annie tried to get on and turn on Michael and act like he's just being so horrible when they helped facilitate this whole shit show, got way too personally involved with the family. And that is another thing a lot of these channels do. They get personally involved with the family of these victims and they start inserting themselves into the case. Annie has done that multiple times. Time and time again, she does that. The Glairer has done it. So many of these channels do it. So it's like, you guys are all hypocrites. You guys are all problematic. And then when these channels decide to start calling out Zavgirl and Molly and Bullhorn Betty, and now Heels in the Air is getting called out, which we're going to get to, it turns into drama. People like the Glairer and anyone who calls out tragedy pimps, they want to act like they're not drama channels. You're a fucking drama channel. You are a drama channel. You do drama streams every day. Calling people out and talking about their drama is a drama/commentary channel. You are no better than a damn drama channel or me or a T channel, whatever the hell you want to call it. And if you're going to sit there and talk about tragedy pimps and hurting women, hurting children, hurting families, then why the hell are you supporting a man who beat up his own son, allegedly essayed women, hurt his ex-wife, harassed a family, and drug Kelly Long through? It's just like, it's so ridiculous, and I'm so tired of seeing it. And all of this drama between these people is taking away from the victims and the families. Some of these people are like, we're advocates. We're advocates. We're going to save the true crime community. We're going to make sure everyone's behaving and doing the right thing. And it's like, you guys are making it worse. You're making it worse. Doing 15 live streams on what Zavgirl did is not helping anybody. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a drama channel. I call out other creators. I go observe communities and call out the problematic behavior that I see. But it's different when it's true crime, because there are victims of crimes, there are families, there are people who are no longer walking this earth. It's very serious, sensitive topics, sensitive situations. There should be no drama. There should be no drama in a damn true crime community. It does not go together. Now, a very active member of this community that I'm talking about, Heels in the Air. She's a channel that also calls out tragedy pimps. She's a mod for the Glairer. Everybody knows her in that community. She's very well liked, very well known. She makes a ton of videos calling out, harassing families, spreading misinformation, all the same stuff that like the Glairer calls out. Well, people did some digging and they uncovered her past on the internet and her previous name and blog and what she was doing before she became Heels in the Air. And it's bad, you guys. It was bad what she got exposed for, okay? So she had a true crime blog, and she was coming for all these different families, and it was all Black families and victims. She was harassing a family of a victim. She leaked autopsy photos. She did some really disgusting stuff. And then when she got called out for it, first, she tried to say it wasn't her. Then she, finally admits that it is her, and she hasn't really changed her stance. She doesn't think she did anything wrong, okay? And a lot of these channels who have been coming for Zavgirl and coming for other true crime channels, when it came to Heels in the Air, it seemed like everybody wanted to tiptoe around it and be really easy on her, let her explain, do panels kind of discussing it in a very adult, mature way, which I will give props to a channel I found, Deets on the Streets. I think she did a really good job. She held a panel talking about what Heels in the Air did. A bunch of people were on the panel. Laura Life Perplex was on there, the Glarer, Captain Napton. Those are the ones that I recognized. And I think they all behaved pretty well on that panel. I think they all did a really good job kind of discussing the issue with what Heels in the Air did and kind of talking about it. But the thing is, none of these people gave Zavgirl the same respect. All of these people were ready to just like jump on her and attack her, and like the Glarer live stream after live stream mocking her, talking crap about her, being nasty to her. But then when it comes to Heels in the Air, he's on panel acting like he's like calm, cool, collected, level headed. Let's have an adult discussion. She deserves to speak her piece. She deserves this and that. But they didn't give Zavgirl that same respect. Everybody's like, cancel her, get rid of her, she should be deplatformed, all this stuff. It's just a bunch of fucking hypocrisy, a bunch of nasty ass people who are using a cause, the cause of trying to clean up the true crime community, to be bullies. That's all that it is, to be bullies and make money, just like the anti-mommy vloggers. That is why I can't stand anti-communities, because it's mostly filled with a bunch of disgusting ass grimy people who are worse than the people that they're talking about. And they will sit there and act like they're the savior of this community and they're coming to clean it up, make sure everybody's behaving. And they are worse. Like, the Glarer is 100 times worse than Zavgirl will ever be. Okay, Annie is just as bad as Zavgirl. Like, the true crime community needs to get it the fuck together, because y'all are a mess. You guys are a mess. You're taking away from the victims of these cases. You're taking away from the families and actually advocating and bringing awareness. None of this is bringing awareness. You guys are all a bunch of drama coming for each other, but you're only coming for the people that you don't like. You're only coming for the people that you want to cancel and get rid of. When it comes to the people that you do like and support, you will defend them, make excuses for them, give them grace, give them a chance to explain, tiptoe around the situation. And it's just a load of bullshit, you guys. It really is that. These true crime communities just get worse and worse every day. And it's really sad because, again, it's supposed to be about victims and their families and bringing awareness and talking about things so people can have some peace and justice for what happened to their family. And it turns into a bunch of drama, gossip, witch hunts, attacking people, bullying people, and all doing it for their own gain to grow their channel, make money, and all this stuff, which is fine. Like I said, grow your channel, be a drama channel. But it shouldn't be that way in a true crime community that is supposed to be about bringing awareness and, having some empathy and tact when you cover sensitive cases and topics. And I totally get wanting to talk about the problems in the true crime community. There are a lot of problems and there are a lot of problematic channels, right? So I don't really know what the answer is, because I understand that people don't want to just let these channels keep being problematic, harassing families, spreading misinformation, profiting off of grief and tragedy, and spreading misinformation and gossip, and it's just a lot. And I understand that it needs to be talked about. I totally get that. But it just seems like that always ends up overshadowing the actual point of a true crime community. So I don't know what the answer is. I do think that having panel discussions like Deets on the Streets did for the Heels in the Air situation could be beneficial. But just having all of these creators just attacking each other every day and causing all this drama and chaos when you're supposed to be a true crime community, it just doesn't work, right? It's one thing if it's just a drama community that talks about random problematic behaviors on YouTube. Like, that's one thing. There's going to be drama, there's going to be fighting, there's going to be infighting in some of these communities. It's normal, but because the whole premise of true crime is sensitive topics, victims and families, it doesn't work. It's not supposed to be that way. And it's very frustrating and irritating to observe these true crime communities and all the bullshit that they bring to YouTube and all the nasty stuff they're doing to each other, to other people. It's just disgusting, and people need to stop with the Patreon. They need to stop uploading graphic photos of children, stop disrespecting families, stop acting like you're a detective in a case and have inside information, stop acting like you know more than the other person just because you want to stand out. The true crime genre has become so saturated. It seems like every creator wants to one up the next creator, right? They want to stand out from the rest. They want to have the exclusive information. They want to have something different that brings all the people to their channel. Well, the problem with that is, again, you are profiting off of tragedies and trauma of people and literally making thousands of dollars off of these victims. And at the end of the day, every channel is doing it. They really are. And you can say this channel is better than that channel. This channel does it better. They're not as disrespectful. That's true. There are some channels that do it way better. But at the end of the day, every single channel that is doing true crime is profiting off of victims, families, trauma, and tragedy. Whether you want to hear it or not, whether you like it or not, that's just the damn truth. And I think a lot of people are starting to wake up to the fact that these people are making bank. They're making thousands of dollars off of dead people. And it's kind of disturbing, really. And I think it's a case by case basis as well, because there will be some families that want awareness to be brought, right? They want it to be talked about, they want it out there. And that's great. And I think it's great that there's creators who are willing to put the stories out there and get the word out for people. But it always turns into too much, right? And then we will have families who are begging people to stop. Kylie Rodney's mother literally got on and told everybody to stop talking about her daughter, stop bringing everything up, stop gossiping, and people didn't listen. People like Zavgirl kept going. She kept going, doing live stream after live stream. A ton of creators did. Spreading gossip. Zavgirl platformed people who were saying Kylie Rodney didn't exist and was fake and all this stuff and accusing people of crimes. And a lot of these channels will also literally accuse people of the crime and decide they're guilty before there's even a trial. Like with the Idaho 4, pretty much everyone has decided that Brian Koberger is guilty, but he hasn't been tried yet. Just because you're arrested does not mean you're convicted. And that is the problem with getting on as a true crime creator and pretty much condemning people who have not even been tried and convicted yet. And then you will have channels like Annie, Zavgirl, and others who are blaming teenagers and causing teenagers to be bullied in some of these situations because they're saying this is a red flag, this teenager is a red flag, we think this person is guilty, they did it, like, oh, we should be looking at this person. And it's just all disgusting and takes away from an actual freaking tragedy and the loss of somebody's fucking child. It's disgusting and I'm fucking sick of it. So, I think I got out everything that I wanted to get out. I probably missed some stuff, but I am going to be doing some more content on this subject because I think it's really important to discuss and have a conversation about. And like I said, I am going to be planning a deep dive into Annie from 10 to Life because I don't think enough people bring awareness to what the fuck she's doing. And a lot of people in that community turn a blind eye to her problematic behavior. And it's not right. It's not right to drag Zavgirl and all these other people and be nasty to these other creators when you support people who do the same fucking thing. So I want to know what you guys think down below. Even if you don't agree with me, this is an open conversation, an open comment section. We're not an echo chamber up in here. I love talking to you guys in the comments. Please tell me what you think about this, and if you know any of these creators, your opinion on them, your opinion on all of the stuff going on in the true crime community, because in general I just think it's really sad. It's really sad, it's disappointing, and I think people need to get back to doing what's important in true crime, and that is bringing a story to people about victims and families. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.